You're watching Digital Photography One-on-One, where we answer your questions. Here's your host, Mark Wallace.
Welcome to Digital Photography One-on-One. This is the second video in a three-part series where we answer the question, what should I buy? If you're just joining us, make sure you tune into episode 3 so that you're all caught up. In that episode, we talked about some very basic principles of light. In this episode, we're going to talk about how those principles of light relate directly to the equipment that you buy. And then in the final episode of this series, we're going to talk about a basic 3-light setup that'll really help you tie it all together. In this episode, we're going to talk about a lot of different lighting equipment. So to make it easy for you to find this stuff later on, we've posted all the links and information on studiolighting.net. Make sure you check it out because we've also posted a bunch of bonus materials as well. Most lighting equipment falls into one of 3 categories: grip, light modifiers, and light sources. We're going to start at grip and work our way back. Grip is all the stuff that we use to support our lights and cameras and sets. It's stuff like gaff tape and clamps, sandbags, and stands. In fact, let's talk about stands because they're really the all-stars of grip, especially when it comes to photography. There are all types of stands, and in my opinion, you can never get enough stands. There are specialty stands like this one, and its job is just to hold this reflector. We've got background stands that can hold seamless paper or cloth. We've got wall-mounted stands to hold seamless white paper, which is really nice. And then we have several different types of light stands. They really fall into 3 categories here. Probably the most popular light stand is a stand that looks sort of like this. And this is a stand that has an air shock in it, which is really nice because if you have an expensive light on here and you undo a knob on accident, it's not going to fall down. The air shocks will soften that blow and sort of really nicely eases its way down. In contrast to that, here's a stand. It's also very lightweight, and it does not have an air shock. So if you undo the knob, that could do some damage to your equipment. So if you get a lightweight stand, I highly recommend the type that has the air shock in it because that could save you some money down the road when you loosen one of these knobs on accident. This stand is about $70, so it's a pretty good deal, and a lot of photographers have those. I would say that probably the best light stand, in my opinion, is the C stand. Now, the C stand has been around for quite a while. The C stands for Century Stand, and these are used primarily in the film and video industry, but photographers use them just as well. They do not have the air shocks, so if you undo one of these knobs, it's going to fall down. The advantage of the C stand, there are many advantages. One is that they're much more durable than one of these lighter weight stands. So you might use one of these for a couple years, but then you'd have to replace it because they wear out. Whereas the C stand is going to last you for 10, 20 years. The other thing is they come with all types of attachments. So you can throw a boom arm on here, and then you can mount a light on this side or a flag over here and make it at any angle. If you're doing some kind of wacky, complicated setup, sort of like Tinker Toys, you know, you can add another arm on here and get a light in a position that maybe, whoa, better watch out before I do that. You can get a light in a position that you would not normally be able to get it into, and you can also build grids and all kinds of things. So these stands are terrific, and I use them. I highly recommend them. It's about $180 to get a C stand and a boom arm, and these boom arms are strong enough to hold backgrounds, seamless white paper. So we use these for backgrounds, lights, all types of stuff. So the C stand is terrific. They also fold up, so when you transport, these bases fold flat, and so you can stack these, and they come with, you can buy carts to haul them around. So I highly recommend this over these other lightweight stands. This is a Profoto Acute D4 head, but most manufacturers' strobe lights look pretty much similar to this. They've got a strobe in the center and a reflector on the outside. Now, manufacturers will allow you to buy different types of reflectors, some that are larger, some that are smaller. And what those do is it allows you to control the quality of light. The narrower the reflector, the harsher the light, the wider the effective size, the larger the effective size of the light, the softer the light that you get. With the Profoto, one of the things that's very nice is you can actually zoom the light in and out. And so instead of having to buy a bunch of different reflectors, you can use the same one to get different degrees, sort of like a mag light. The thing that's common with all manufacturers is the ability to somehow remove that reflector and attach other modifiers to the light source. Some of the very common ones are, with the head attached, are the umbrella and the softbox. Now we'll start with the umbrella. What the umbrella does, if you have a small light source, again, you're going to have harsh light. If you want to have that light to be softer, you need to make that to be a much larger light source. You can do that by using a reflector such as an umbrella. Now usually umbrellas attach somehow right to the light itself, and then what you can do is you turn it around and you take a picture of your subject this way, so the light actually bounces off the reflector and onto your subject. So your effective size of the light has become much larger, and so the light is also much softer. So the umbrella is used quite a bit, and then also very common is the softbox. And there's a big difference between a softbox and an umbrella. So when you have the umbrella, what happens is it tends to have light that spreads beyond the umbrella, and it can bounce off of walls and ceilings and things like that. So in a small enclosed space, especially with white walls, there's not a way to control all of that light necessarily. The softbox, however, is fully enclosed, so you don't have light that's spilling all over the place, and you get a nice, even, soft light. But a softbox does even more than that. So I'm going to bring out a large softbox and show you the difference between just a standard umbrella and a really nice softbox. I have a large PhotoFlex softbox here. This is called a LightDome Q3, and I'm just going to mount that to my head here. What I'm using here, this is called a speed ring. Speed ring is named a speed ring because it allows you to quickly put things on and off of your light head. So that's how you put it on. And also, I've got these flaps open just to show you the speed ring. Normally, these are closed. They've got Velcro that holds them in place. And what that does is it controls the light from spilling all over the place. Now, when we had the umbrella, what was going on is the umbrella was out here, the light would hit it and reflect. Well, some of the light could escape the umbrella. So these side panels really control the light so you don't have light spilling onto walls and reflecting and bouncing around where you don't want it. But there are other things that happen inside the softbox that are really, really nice. There are two panels of diffusion. And so as the light travels forward, it is being diffused and then diffused again. So when it finally comes out the end here, it's really, really nice and soft. So let me show you what's inside this light box here. So if I spin it around, this big panel right in the front is a diffusion panel, and you can take that off if you want to have a little bit harsher light. But inside, we have the first diffusion panel. So here's our head. So the light travels, it's bouncing all over on these white walls here. It hits this first panel of diffusion, and so what that does is it really softens the light, and then finally it hits this second panel of diffusion. So when the light finally comes out of the softbox, it really is soft. So the light is a little bit softer than an umbrella, plus it's controlled. So that's something you use for like portraits or beauty shots, things like that, because this really casts wonderful light. One of the things you have to be careful with, though, and something that you have to understand, is as the light is traveling from the head through the softbox, because it's being diffused and traveling through these different diffusion panels, it's going to affect it by a quarter, third, even a half stop of light. So you have to make up for that by adding more power at the head to get the same amount of light that you would have had with the standard reflector.